Howdy team, happy Friday. I hope that y'all have had such an awesome week this week celebrating Christmas with your families. It was a pretty good time at Fort Lewis, but now I'm coming to you from JFK in New York City. We're on the first leg of our trip to Bosnia. It's pretty loud here, so I hope you can hear okay. It's been one crazy 24 hours to get to this point. Y'all pray us the rest of the way there without any more incidents, but we're here and we're safe and it's happening. Janet, I think you're teaching the group as a whole this Sunday, but I wanted to give y'all a heads up. Our flights got changed, and so we won't be back now until next Sunday afternoon, so I won't be there next Sunday either. And so this Sunday, if y'all decide to split up, or if Janet, if you just teach the whole group, I totally trust y'all. I know you know what to do. And then next Sunday, again, we'll be gone. Do go ahead and plan on being in our groups like normal. Most of the students will be back in place by that point. But I did want to briefly talk to you about this lesson because it's really good material this week. I would follow along with the material only just because it lays it out so well and so clearly. The questions are pretty okay. Both the options are lousy, so don't bother with those. In fact, you might just talk to them about, certainly if you're in a big group, just talk about their Christmas week and what they get and that kind of thing. There's no sense in trying to set the lesson up per se. Just talk about their lives and you can jump into this. This will be a story that they're very familiar with, and that's okay. In fact, we're going to keep emphasizing to them, chances are good you already know this story, and that's okay. And actually, this morning's lesson is proof of why it matters to continue to talk about things that you already know. So I want to point out really two things about this lesson, and one's for the students and one is for y'all, actually. So when you read through this passage, you know it's sandwiched in between the phrase, and Jesus grew in wisdom. It says that Jesus had wisdom and he was growing in wisdom right at the start of the story, and then the very last verse says that as well. And there could be lots of reasons for that. I'm not God, and so I won't even begin to suggest to you I know all the reasons why he laid the scriptures out the way that it did. But one thing's incredibly apparent to me is this story really is about Jesus setting an example for us and how we're supposed to live our lives, including showing us how you grow in wisdom. And the way that we see that is it says that Jesus was growing in wisdom, and then it tells a story about him spending time in the temple and him getting away from his parents. We'll talk about that in a second. But he spent this time in the temple, and the lesson points this out. He wasn't in there teaching everybody. He was in there asking questions. But the thing that's important to remember is he is and he was the Son of God, and yet he was still asking questions. So he already had a lot of information. In fact, because he was God, he had all of the information, and yet we still find him asking questions. I would point out to the students just really plainly. In fact, if this is the only thing they understood on Sunday, this is a win. The reason why we continue to come to church, even when we already know everything, and they don't, and neither do we, is because spending time in church with other believers and asking questions is how we grow. That's how Jesus was growing, and that's certainly how we will grow. And I would point out to them too, if Jesus felt the need to grow in wisdom, and if Jesus felt the need to be in his Father's house, why in the world would we think that we don't need to be? For any number of reasons. So help them understand that. I think that's a big deal. But also I will say this for you, my teachers, almost all of you are parents, and I want you to take a little bit of encouragement from this. Can you imagine how discouraged and distraught Mary and Joseph would have been when they discovered we don't have our son? We just lost the Son of God. Oh my gosh, what is God going to do to us? We just lost his son, right? In fact, it's sort of funny. Go ahead and make the Home Alone correlation, right? Because actually, we just watched Home Alone at my house, but it's a Home Alone situation. Everybody else thought that Kevin was covered. Everyone else thought that Jesus was covered. And the lesson points out, too, that men and women would have traveled separately. So it's understandable how this happened, but nonetheless, you've got to believe that not only were they distraught, but they had to have been so heartbroken themselves, like, I can't believe I screwed this up. As parents, we screw up stuff all the time, and our kids are not the Son of God. Our kids are not perfect. They literally were the parents of the perfect child, and they still blew it. And so continue to give yourselves grace. look at this story as a guideline. Even if my kids actually were perfect, things still aren't going to go perfectly as a parent. But continue to seek the Lord and receive His grace and continue to seek His wisdom on how we can raise our kids better together. Maybe that means diddly to y'all, but I was encouraged by that as I was studying. So anyway, guys, I love y'all. I miss you. Again, pray for us, please. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.